Hey guys, it's Roscoe, and on Space Catch today we're going to be taking a look at this Jetliners Wings Across the World by Lance F. Cole and John K. Morton, two of the most respected photojournalists in aviation, certainly in the 80s and 90s. And this is one of my most prized aviation books. It's one of the first ones that I got. So there you go. On the back is Flying Tigers at Sydney, Kingsford Smith, Aero Mexico DC-9 on the front cover. This is from 1985, this book, and I got it a couple of years after that in my mid-late teens. So, classic shot of Kai Tak, of course. Loads of TriStars and 747s in that old jade green livery. Fantastic image here, 727, DC-8 and 767 all in the same shot. That just goes to show how long they operated their DC-8s for, which I have mentioned in the past. Now here's a great lineup at a European airport. Bal Air DC-9, Sat Caravel and Hapag Lloyd 727, and looks to be a 100 series. So 3 tri-jets, very, very good, all different. 3 very important craft, all for different reasons as well, of course. That was 1983. Rare to see Caravel still flying then. Equatoriana from Ecuador, 707, beautiful livery. I know that later in the 80s there was an A310 and a DC-10 were painted in that livery before they went bust. There's a Transavia Holland 707, that is in 1973, that one. Obviously by that time 707 was transferring over to charter carriers rather than being scheduled routes. So, Kenya Airways 707. Maersk Airways 707, very attractive in the blue there. I'll just bring it in a bit closer. They've always had very attractive shades of blue in their liveries. Air Mauritius 747, Ville de Curepe, you know, beautiful looking plane, absolutely immaculate, and of course you see some tails sticking up above the buildings of Terminal 3, TWA and BA. TAP Air Portugal, love that livery. I mean, like I said, I've loved all of their liveries. That'll be Manchester in the 70s as a charter flight. Here's American Transair. Obviously, they're no longer around. We saw some of their TriStars previously in one of the other books. But this is them at Las Vegas, because obviously that's a big holiday destination. British Midland, as it was, 707, when they had some Atlantic flights. You know, obviously, in their later iterations in the early 90s, they had some flights to Saudi and India that they used A330s on. Here is an El Al 707 at Amsterdam, I believe. Obviously, for security reasons, they often remove the title. We saw that with one of their cargo 747s in one of the previous books. American Airlines 707 at JFK. Ethiopian, and obviously their livery is so attractive even now it's updated. And who's the bottom one? Air Malta. Yes, indeed. So, great to see 707s flying. It's long since gone out of most passenger service, of course. Flying over, I think it's at Siberia, or it's like Alaska. Yes, winging down to Paris from Anchorage. That was a JAL flight 402. Cathay Pacific, that's obviously a 300 series, this 400 wasn't out at that point. The classic shot of Hong Kong, all the buildings tightly packed. And there is a BA 747, a South African 747, and that is a UAE 747 SP. That'll all be at Heathrow Airport. Great shot, Korean Airlines. See a JAL at the back and also another CAL plane at the background. This is Anchorage. This was back in the days when there were no non-stop flights and you'd have to make a stop somewhere, usually Anchorage, to refuel to get to the East Coast. The Empire Strikes Back, this is called. What a glorious image. BA 747 coming in over Kowloon at sunset. And of course the Flying Tigers, and there's a tiny little plane underneath there as well. Again, that is Anchorage. Absolutely loved this book. It was very formative on me when I first picked it up. This is great. Obviously, Cathay planes, Swissair DC-10, United SP. Is that an SP? Yes, you can tell by the shortened tail at the end there, the little kink. But yes, very nice. And there, of course, is, I think that's JAL planes, probably at, that would be Tokyo, I guess. Now, we saw a similar kind of picture to this in one of the other ones, you know, with all the JAL 747s clustered around. You see a couple of different iterations of it there, a 200 and a 100, and I think it's the same here, a 200 and a 100. No, it's a 300 and a 200, sorry, I didn't realise it was a stretched fuselage there. Another great one, coming in over Kowloon into Kai Tak, that classic fighter approach. And there, of course, is KLM. Charles Lindbergh, that plane is called. Classic KLM blue, absolutely love it. And there's a great one of United 100 climbing up out of Tokyo Narita at sunset. Very atmospheric. Now, great shot of a BA plane. I think that's City of Durham, I'm not sure. And there is a very rare picture of a TWA not TriStar, that wasn't rare at all. 747 SP. I'm not sure what routes they used that on, if it was to Asia or to Europe, because I don't think they ever flew to, say, Australia or wherever. That was City of Durham, by the way. Now, another great shot in the classic 70s Qantas livery, their SP, and the Avianca plane from Colombia here, glorious in that livery. I think they only flew the one 747. Second oldest airline in the world, aren't they, after KLM, or is it the other way around? I'm sure KLM's first, and then it's these guys. Can't remember if they're still around, or if they've merged them, like, say, as something like LAN Colombia, or LAN Ecuador, or whoever, but they may still be around. I just don't recall off the top of my head. Now, 747 of Virgin, obviously, that'll be at Gatwick going to the Caribbean. Canadian Airlines DC-10, Flying Tigers 747, Metro International 747. They were a charter carrier, kind of like, well, there's been so many of them, hasn't there, that they do a couple of routes and that's it. Now here is a great shot. American Airlines DC-10, BWIA TriStar, and here, of course, is a Pan Am 747-100. This is at Frankfurt. Here is a great one of Malaysia Airlines DC-10 in one of their more recent liveries. Obviously not the most recent, it's changed several times in the last 5 years, but very attractive on that one. Biman, Bangladesh, I think that's coming out of Heathrow. And there's the classic Lufthansa. You can actually see that the front nose wheel is slightly angled forward, which is a very typical Douglas feature all the way back to the DC-3, I believe. But yes, a classic plane, the Lufthansa DC-10. Another one, Northwest Orient DC-10. Looks spectacular in that livery, doesn't it? Just glorious. Bal Air, which was a Swiss Air charter subsidiary, that's at LA. And here is a Sabina DC-10. They operated a bunch of those for their routes to the African continent, to their former colonies, of course. Now, British Caledonian's charter arm, Cal Air. This later became Nov Air, and that was replaced by a star on the tail. That is in that Trijets book, I believe. There it is again, there a year later. That was in the mid-late 1980s. Now, here's some great DC-10 action here. LAN Chile no longer flies this type, of course. Aero Mexico, Viaza gone. Are they the ones that were gone? It was a Mexicana that was gone. I can't remember. But yes, none of these are flying those types anymore. There's so few DC-10s flying, of course. Classic American Airlines at the ramp on Toronto on one winter's night. And there is Scandinavian Airlines DC-10. Wow, it really needs a bit of a wash. It's been like half cleaned, it looks like. Still a bit grimy there. And there is just cockpit shot of a DC-10 from KLM. JAL, very nice, DC-10. Malaysian, again, very nice DC-10. Great reflections there. Is that an Iraqi tail, I think, popping out over the background? No, it's a JAL tail. It's this one that has the Iraqi tail there. So that was just before the Gulf War, a couple of years before that. You can just see there also some 767s of JAL. Worldways Canada saw one of these at Manchester Airport not that long before they went bust in the late 1980s, early 1990s. TriStar, very popular with Canadian charter carriers. All Nippon and would be at the time Air Lanka tails. Great one of Hawaiian Airlines, of course. As I said, I've probably flown on one of these planes, given that it was passed down to Rich International. That is at Las Vegas. Love the colours on Hawaiian, it's always been glorious. Classic craft, classic airline, Dan Air Comet. Never flown on one of these, they're all phased out by the time I was flying. Look, there is a back 111 there. Of course, you see the Nimrods flying, oh my god, they're so loud. So, Trident, VC-10, loved that plane, obviously so similar to the Luciano 62. And there's another version of the Trident. BEA, as it was, British European Airways, merged into British Airways along with BOAC. More British Airways. the classic 70s Arthur Negus livery, then the classic Landau livery. This is a unique shot. It never actually flew in that 1980s livery that was just used for staff training. And Court Line, one of the early charter carriers, also ordered TriStars, the first IT company to order TriStars. And they're all brightly coloured, pinks, blues, pale greens, all that sort of thing. Very attractive livery. Another classic, British Caledonian Back 111 at Gatwick, and a Quebec Air Back 111, I guess at Quebec, Montreal perhaps, Toronto. Dan Air, Back 111, and of course that is a Comet. You can see how dated the Comet looks compared to the others. London European Back 111 at Schiphol, and there is a BAE 146 of Dan Air. That was the classic plane, that was one of the backbone of their fleet towards the end. Great shot, isn't it? The Concorde, what a sky that is, just absolutely dramatic. Now, a couple of MD-11s. American Airlines, Austrian Airlines, absolutely fantastic. You see the Back 111s in the background of BA. The Austrian livery is very attractive. It's always been attractive. Midway at, I guess it's LaGuardia, and here it will be Chicago, I guess, or possibly Dallas. More like Chicago's as a United 747 there. So yeah, 727, MD-80, DC-10, United 747. Bahamas Air 737, very attractive livery. That classic Western Airlines livery prior to the Delta merger in the mid-late 80s. Continental, great livery. This is at Jacksonville in Florida, I believe. And then an Air Europa tail. They went bust, of course, in the roundabout 1990. Condor, still around, of course, the German charter subsidiary of Lufthansa, and Sunburst, I'm not sure if they're still around, probably one of those Universitators, sorry, they're probably not around anymore. Classic shot at Frankfurt, Pan Am 727. You see up on the top here, older planes, because there's a museum of planes at Frankfurt Airport, and there's an Air Canada 727 at Toronto. This is just a great shot. TWA at LaGuardia lined up. Ariana Afghan Airlines, very rare. You see all the soot hanging out here and the buckets out of the engines. Where was this? Bahrain. I'm not sure when that would have been, prior early 1980s, I would have thought, given all the troubles in that country since. Another Avianca plane, this time a 727, and this livery really suits these planes. It just makes the fuselage look so long. Very attractive indeed. I'm sure that's probably coming into land at Miami. Yes, December 1987. Cayman Islands, very nice for that British colony, I think it's still a colony, in the Caribbean. And FedEx 727, again, I see this as purple. Do you see it as blue? Another charter airline, I think they're still around, they might be gone, Sterling Airways from Denmark. Here's a rare pick here, an Emirates Airlines 727. This is in their very early days of operations, flying from Dubai to Hong Kong. I think they had a 737 and maybe an A300 as well. There's the Philippine Airlines Sunburst delivery, which is very new at the time, as it floats down into Hong Kong. You see also Thai Airways and Cathay Pacific. Great shot. And CAC as well. Love this livery. Alia on an A310 Royal Jordanian, just gorgeous. Turkish Airlines A310 classic livery, classic plane. Thai Airways tail. Garuda Indonesia A300. And there's Philippines A300. Looks absolutely packed, last flight of the day from Tokyo. Pan Am A310, classic shot of course. Condor A300. Obviously we spoke about Pan Am's use of its Airbus fleet trying to fight off its financial crisis. Singapore Airlines had loads of them. They'd all been phased out by the time I flew on the airline back in 2004, but that was their 310s, very nice. Hapag-Lloyd, very, very nice. It was their orange and blue A300s. They did all the holiday routes to the Canaries, the Mediterranean, all that from Germany. Odyssey International 757. This is actually the Air Holland livery, so this plane was on lease, and they have both since gone bust. Odyssey was a Canadian charter carrier, didn't last that long. Air Holland went bust a while ago as well. There you go, that is a TWA 767-200 and an Air Canada 767, gorgeous looking planes. And there is a very pointy looking Northwest 757, cockpit end. Air France Caravelle, absolutely classic plane, one of the most important ones. Another Caravelle, CTA, LOT Illusion Il-62, and of course an Aeroflot Illusion Il-62, those marvellous Russian workhorses. Cubana Illusion Il-54. I've been on Cubana, although it actually was a 737 on lease from another airline that they were operating. There's an Interflug 2134, the old Tupolev plane. It's very rare now, I believe. Air Canada DC-8, Arrow Air DC-8s. Yes, so very popular with charter and cargo carriers right up into the 80s and even later, and there's probably still a handful of them still flying. Suriname Airways still have a very attractive livery now, based in Guyana, of course, in South America. No, in Suriname rather than Guyana. So Alitalia DC-8, East African Airways DC-9, and I think this is an Air Zaire 737 or 707. Is this Kenya? Yes, it's in Nairobi. And then Air Canada DC-8 cargo coming to land at Heathrow. That's great. You see, it hasn't been re-engined. Spantax Convair 990 with another plane behind it. I think also a 990. Very rare. Yes, indeed. And then finally, just an Eastern Airlines TriStar taking off from Miami at sunset. So yes, that was Jetliners, one of my favourite airliner books and one of the first ones I got. I love those pictorial histories. Please subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this content. Leave me a comment suggestion for what upcoming topic you'd like to see discussed, or like the video.